I'm the founder of Canadian Black Farmers. I'm just going to be very brief. I've been farming in Canada for 24 years. I came to this country 25 years ago, and what I learned from my grandfather, he always say, if you can put a seed in the soil, wherever there is soil, you can succeed. Yeah. You just have to find a seed and put it in the soil. He said, once that seed can grow, that means you will never go hungry, you will never be poor. And if you can feed yourself, you feed your friend, then you feed your community. So when I got here, I started looking at the opportunity. I was doing it 15 years ago. I started realizing that I've been like a lone person around. I said, what's going on? I travel across Canada, I can't find any other black farmers. Even if I find, they're just living on the farm. Maybe they got it from mostly from people from the Caribbean. Maybe they got it from their grandparents and they just live there, and then their neighbor farmers just use the land. Then in 2019, I started seeing some things in the community, in the black community, especially the Black African and Caribbean community. I realized that when people come to Canada, when we arrive, most immigrants, within 2-3 years or 4 or 5, what the kind of sickness that we never had started happening in our community. I said, why is this happening? Then I started doing stories. I realized that most of our people, they can't have access to our culturally preferred food here in Canada. And whichever one that we have here, we buy it it's very expensive. Most of them, it's been imported to Canada, and by the time you get here, maybe 40, 30, 50% of them is unedible. And then the importer will now lose the money. Then I started to say, okay, you know what, I have property in the city, so I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna move out of the city. I wanna do something. I met many of the people in our community, mayors, MPs. I said, is there any way we can explore how to farm some of, we are natural, I'll tell you what, Africans are natural born farmers. It's part of our culture. When you see agric, the culture in agric is us because our way of life. It's what it is. Agriculture. When I said that, I was like, oh, wow, okay. They said there's nothing we can do. So I decided to buy 5 acres, 2 hours away from the city. I said, I want to focus on just growing our cultural crop. I know many of our people in our community cannot have access because the income is not enough to buy those our cultural food that are very expensive in the stores. So I said, I'm going to experiment this for a few years. I'll see what's going to happen. Then I met our Minister of Agriculture in BC. Then I told her, and she said, I never heard this before, but good luck. So I started gradually. From the vegetables, gradually. It wasn't working for second year. First year, so when I was experimenting this, then COVID happened, bam, in 2020. And I said, that's a big sign for me that something is good about what I'm trying to do. So I now had time to focus and just start to think. Then I started experimenting. I said, the first thing is, I remember my grandfather said, when talk to the soil will listen to you. So traditionally, whenever I'm in my farm, I never wear shoes. I just walk around. I started kind of like connecting with the nature. So I quick grounded and I started thinking. I said, oh, we need the soil. Okay, what's the composition of loam soil? Oh, sand, silt, and clay. So Canada does not have everything together. There's either clay here or sand here, or I said, okay, bring it together. That sounds good. So I brought it together. Then I have a goat herd. We like goats. I have a lot of goats in my farm. That's the first thing I put in the farm. And because goats are foragers, they eat whatever. They eat tree barks. They eat blackberries. They take over my old blackberry. They finished it. So gradually, I experimented this. Then I realized that, I grew water leaf. After I put the soil together, everything started working. I used my goat manure. I cleaned out from the pen, from the barn. So I mixed it with the soil. So that was just a natural way because I eat only organic food as a farmer. So I spoil myself. So I've always grown tomato pepper before, but That's just a normal thing for several years. Then I started going deeper into our core, our vegetables. And gradually, the moment I started using this loam soil and natural ways I'm growing, and it started growing. Bitter leaf, ugu, everything. I said, oh, that's interesting. BC, we have 5 good months to grow tropical crops in Canada. That's because I live in BC. I said, oh, okay. I said, that's a good idea. Then today now, I'll just cut it briefly, to cut it short. I have grown cassava, I've grown yam in Canada successfully. And I'm probably the first person ever did that in Canada. I now even went further. Cassava leaves is actually good for cows. I was talking to right now, Canadian government is my partner. They have come on board fully. AFC, CFA, all the way to the federal. So what I'm currently doing is I'm going across Canada. I'm doing a speaking tour. I've been to every provinces. I've met all the premiers. I've met a lot of MPs, every provinces, and the Ministry of Agriculture. They've welcomed us. We've had a meeting with the Ministry of Agriculture here actually. I know we've had meeting with them. So maybe most of our, we don't know, but I had a meeting with the Ministry of Agriculture in province here. So yeah, what I want to say to our community is this. This area, we've never really think of anything about it. And I'll tell you what, I have tried everything possible and I've looked at our black community. One of the easiest way for us to create a sustainable economy in our community, and they create a generational wealth, is through the food we eat. This province, maybe 50,000 black African Caribbean community, right here. Let's just take 10,000 out of those 50,000. And we are growing just one unified vegetable. Let's say maybe one group is growing one unified vegetable. And everybody out of 10,000 people subscribe $10 weekly. For out of the 10,000 people, $10 weekly, and they are buying one vegetable. That is very common with us. That is like what? How much? 100,000 a week?
100,000 a week.
Times 54. It's a game of numbers. Our own food can create a sustainable economy beyond our imagination that will blow our mind away. Agriculture, we can't go wrong. That's one thing based on my research, we in the Black African and Caribbean community, and even, you know what's funny about this? Once we are doing this, it will benefit every Canadian. Yeah. More tax revenue back to the community. Some takers, you know, when some company found out that I grow cassava, they started calling me. They were even 100 companies approached me and they said, we use cassava material in what it's not even African. They are not Africans. They bring the cassava from the South America to Canada. Then I realized, whoa, a lot of people are using cassava here for snacks, for tapioca, for all kind of different things. Hey, I'm waking us up. It's a huge opportunity for us. With the food we eat, we can grow almost like our 70% of tropical crops and vegetable in Canada. It doesn't last. It's only within 3 to 6 months they grow. That's it. 3 to 6 months, it's grown. So all we have to do, prolong the season. Here, I'm sure you have maybe 2 full or 2.5 months full tropical. But let's just prolong it a little bit to be 4 or 5. That is a huge economy. It's over $1 billion industry that we're just laying down. That's what I presented in the federal government. Say, hey, listen, we have over $1 billion economy in Canada untapped. And our farmers, me being in the industry, I know, Canadian farmers, they are just retiring. No succession plan. And whether it's a vacuum that we can just come in and revive this country, ours, because it's our home now. Let's join together and do something through our food, and let us lift our whole country up together. We can all make this together. And I thank you for the opportunity. And if you want to know more, just check CanadianBlackFarmers.ca. CanadianBlackFarmers.ca. Just contact us, be a member, join us, and we will be there. I will be there with my team to help you get started. Let's do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much.